One little, two little, three little Indians. Yes, yes, yes. I'm all together. One big hole at one time. No need to dig multiple ditches. So we got these three in our sight as we pour this juice nice and slow. The question is very simple. Why is it that when the topic of racism or race comes up, these three individuals have the strangest things come out of their mouths? Race comes up, strange things come from their mouths. Based upon which political party they play at, whether it be on the left or the right side, will be, or shall I say, lie contingent upon their reply. So on the right, you have the right-wing denialists of racism and chattel slavery. They'll go extra hard, that being Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley, going extra hard and at the ever-existence of racism in this country. And then you have political pundits like Kamala Harris on the left liberal side. She will cape and cap for her political party. She mixes and matches minorities, quote unquote. That's how they get down on that side. And I do mean quote unquote minorities. That's not a term that I would prefer to use on this channel, but for convenience of conversation. Now, okay. The three little Indians. One little, two little, three little Indians. Yes, family, all three are from India. Why do we bring up their nation or their birth nation, Bar? Because we're pouring some juice. And we have to get to the root. And when you get to the root of something, you get actually to the pureness of it. You get right to the source of something. And in getting to that, that's when the juice is poured. That's when the nutrition and the nutritional factors are at their potent peak. So we always advise to drink that juice within 15 minutes of pouring. So let's pour it nice and slow for these three, if you will. The nation of India, the oldest caste system in the world. So when we have this conversation about racism, oppression, discrimination, systematic behaviors within governments upon certain peoples and individuals within that citizenry, we have to understand that they come from the oldest caste system in the entire world. The Indian caste system is over 3,000 years old. 2,000 years old, I believe, somewhere along those lines. It's an ancient caste system. It's old, super old. And for its duration, it has put a group of people at the bottom and a certain group of people at the top. The Brahmin class, this is the group of Nikki Haley, Vivek, and Kamala. The Brahmin class, or the second tier class within the Indian caste system from which they come, these are the defenders of the caste system. These are the hiders of the caste system, the profiters from the caste system. They either have never seen the caste system while profiting from it, or they, as I say, they've never seen it and deny it while profiting from it, or they will acknowledge the system, but they will also try to justify and explain and defend the system. Why? Because they profit from it. They receive privileges from it, protections from it, access to various countries from it. And those that are at the bottom, before I go on, let me shout out the untouchables. Let me shout out the Dalit class. Let me shout out the untouchables. Because they're going to say, go ahead, Bar, pour that juice, family. Please go ahead and pour that juice. We've been over here resisting and contending with this abominable system for quite some time. Go ahead and pour that juice. No Indian of the lower caste system based upon religion is going to dispute the words which I'm speaking or spitting. Not at all. They're going to love this juice that I'm pouring. Follow me. There's the movie Slumdog Millionaire. Slumdog Millionaire was a very, very good movie. Many people, when observing it, they got caught up in the love story. They got caught up in the tale of it, I guess. But when you look at the backdrop to it and the circumstances as to which the young man had to endure, you're looking at torture, terror, sexual exploitation, economic exploitation. You're looking at all types of adversities that a human being will have to go through, very similar to that of the chattel slaves of America. We'll get to that second oldest caste system in the world soon. Back to India. We're dealing with, in the movie Slumdog Millionaire, you're bearing witness to a child of the Dalit class, of the untouchable class, the lower caste of the Indian caste system. And all the adversities, the atrocities that he and his friends endured was simply because he was a member of the Indian untouchables, the Indian slaves, if you will. Although they are Indian, they segregate, discriminate, oppress, systematically oppress based upon religion. So therefore their mother's mother, their children's children, children's children's children, just as their mother's mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and grandfathers and great-great-grandfathers' children have all been a part of the untouchable lower caste system. They will also be abused. They will also be degraded. They will also be disrespected, demised, despised. Yeah, that's them. That's the untouchables. Now, back to the Brahmin class. Back to the Indians in the higher caste system. This is why they can come to America, as we made mention earlier, it being the second oldest caste system in the world. India being the oldest based upon religion, America being the second oldest caste system in the world based upon race. And that's why these three individuals can come to this country, and just as they caped and capped for the Indian caste, they will cape and cap for the American caste. And this is why strange things come out of their mouths every time when the conversation of race or racism comes up. Every time. Don't be alarmed by it. They don't even believe half the things they say. They are in continual cape and cap mode for the very systems which they currently serve, now America. But they have had great training. These three little Indians have been trained very well. They know how to deny and lie, although sometimes these lies and denials are catching up to them in real time, as we can see. It's hard to lie these days, fam. But in previous years, these lies could go forward. And now we just pour a little bit more juice to the expose of these three individuals. Next time they say something ridiculous out their mouths, always consider from where they come and to what happens to the people of the lower caste. Not them and their families, but the people of the lower caste. What happens to those individuals who they do not defend, who they will not speak of, who they will uphold the very system which abuses those people. What do you think that they're going to uphold when they come to America, the second oldest caste system? Do you think they're going to be for justice? Do you think they're going to be for equality and truth and speaking truth to power? Huh? I believe that their track records, their public statements bear out my sentiments to be true. And that's enough juice for today on these 1, 2, 3 little